Hi, Mr. John. Hi, Mr. John, Miss Pan. Are you all able to hear me? Oh, that's great. Hi, Miss Pan. Enjoy the video, okay? Kindly let us play one more time before let's start the webinar today, okay? Okay, all right. So, hi everyone. I'm Guan Qi. So today's topic is on mastering the investing concepts. Okay, so I'm an investment consultant over here at Raffles City Tower branch. So here are some disclaimer. Okay, come to our corporate profile, like as usual. Okay, so we established back in 1975. So this year, 2025, is marking the 50 years anniversary, right? So that's good. Okay, this is our founder profile. And we have global presence. Okay, and we do have varieties of products, trading products. And here is our products and services. Okay, basically for the major milestone, it's the newly updated, which is 2024. We clinched the Best Retail Broker Award by SIAS Investors Choice Awards. This is our worldwide affiliated offices. Okay, basically this is also where I located at. So Raffles City Tower, level 6. Okay, Raffles City Tower branch, really investor center. Okay, so myself, I'm Guan Qi, also specialize in managing life insurance, general insurance, investment portfolios for clients in all investor center, Phoenix Investor Center. So I treat it like a learning journey between my customer and myself because I think there's always new stuff for us to learn and to constant improving and learning. Yeah, so it's basically a learning journey from each other. Okay. Okay. All right. So, sorry, excuse me. If let's say I have intermittent cough, please just excuse me, okay? Because I'm a bit down with the flu. So, okay, so here comes with the 10 investing concepts we all better to know and also need to learn. So, of course, we have the components, we have savings, risk, financial planning, and compounding power, diversification. Low cost is basically about the cost efficient and also understand investment strategies and to stay disciplined and take ownership and the golden rule when it comes to invest. Okay. So the key ideas is about understanding risk, diversification, and asset allocation. I mean, basically, all of us will encounter when we come to the investment world, right? The risk diversification and assets allocation. And then the second point is which we can have a plan. And of course, we need to prioritize saving because the saving components will eventually contribute to our investment and to also know the power of compounding. Then, while we invest, we need to taking of the cost because you see input and output that makes the cash flow, right? We need to have the input, we need to have the output. Then if let's say it's a positive number between input and output, it's a surplus. If let's say it's a negative between I mean input and output, it's a deficit, right? So basically it's meaning a negative and invest in only what we understand, right? So basically, if let's say you understand, you know about the thing you are investing, so you'll be better prepared and to know the outcome more or less, right? And of course, like what I mentioned earlier, so I hope a relationship between me and myself and my clients, it should be a learning journey. So it's like broaden our knowledge. That's the point when I'm with my customer. So basically, I hear from their life. Maybe some are from overseas, some are local. So we are all exposed to different markets or the same markets. And of course, stay disciplined. So I always tell myself and also my clients, stay happy, stay invested. And of course, to think like an owner or lender. Yeah. So that will anchor us better when we come to do investment. Okay. So maybe let's go to the today's first point, okay? Which is creating a budget. Creating a budget that also means making savings a priority, right? So of course, like what I mentioned, we need to have input, then we can have the output. Basically, here the input is the cash flow in. And cash flow in, we can consider different ways. But then one of the things here, which is our savings, which it makes a large portion of our investment, right? So before we can become an investor, we must have money to invest. And of course, for most of us, we require to setting aside a portion of each paycheck for savings. And other than if let's say our employer that offers a savings plan, then we also have other attractive way to make savings automatically. Like basically we can do some part of our own contributions, set aside of employers' budget. Yeah. So one of the thing I can think which align with, we contribute, employer also contribute, the savings can be CPF. Yeah. So that's also some of our savings if let's say we consider, right? And also in order to even to set up our financial plan, we need to consider what other alternatives is for making savings automatically. So other than utilizing like employer sponsored. And so building wealth typically has aggressive savings at its own core and followed by astute investing aimed at making those savings grow. So another thing, other than setting a budget, I mean, we need to, because I mean, come to investment, the best ideal scenario is a growing portfolio, right? Making our savings grow. So that's will come to later of the topic, okay? When we go more intense. And also, a key to saving aggressively is to living frugally and spending with caution. So basically that is making a saving, right? That means we save on what we can save. We do what we can do. Don't, also quite important from my customer, don't spend what you don't have. Yeah, and that's quite important as well for myself. So when I thought of the idea, I would just let all of, yeah, my my customer to know. Okay. So a jump to our financial plan would be creating a budget, right? So tracking our spending closely and regularly reviewing whether we outlays are making sense and delivering sufficient value. And various budgeting software and apps packages are available, and we can choose to create our own spreadsheets as well. If let's say we want to depend on ourselves, we can month to month take out a pen and paper and to note down what's our input and output, basically the cash flow in and out, and to make better strategy for the next month or in the future, right? So I mean, to take short, which is creating a budget. The three salient points is setting aside a portion to invest. Second, make savings automatic. And third, make saving a priority. Okay, so move on to the second point. So this is about understand risk. I mean, it takes a quite big portion of investment, right? So investment risk has many aspects, such as default risk. That is, comes to a bond. The risk that the insurer may not meet its obligation to pay interest or even pay back our principal, right? And also the volatility in stocks. The volatility in stocks, I mean, if let's say we know which can produce sharp and sudden increases or decreases in the value of stocks, right? And in addition, there is, in general, always a trade-off between risk and return. So what do we understand about risk and return? Risk and return simply also is a risk and rewards kind of thing. So that is the route to achieving higher returns on our investment. It's often come with assuming more risk, right? And including the risk of losing all or part of our investment. So when it comes to investment, I think we need to educate ourselves. Investment is always come with a risk, be it low or high. Yeah, that's a salient point, I mean. investment that will always associate with risk, okay? It's only how we can manage it or manage the risk, right? So educate ourselves on including the risk of losing all or part of an investment is very crucial before we even take a step to invest, okay? And as a crucial part of our planning process, we should determine our own risk tolerance. So basically, for all of us, if let's say we ever place some investment through financial institution, be it banks or maybe Philip Securities itself, or maybe any other fund houses, I think there is always this financial analysis, right? So I mean there are a few components which is quite important for the financial advisor to assess us and to give ourselves the best accurate product that fits our investment portfolio. I mean risk, understand the risk. Our risk tolerance definitely is the most important thing. And also to understand what's the risk underlying in the investment that we are going to place is also play a part. Yeah, so that should be the thing. Better manage our risk and to know what's the underlying risk can be and can we tolerate that. That's very important. So for point two, understand risk. The three salient points, which is investment risk, such as default risk on a bond and volatility on the stock's price. And also second point, trade-off between risk and return. So another words is risk and rewards. And third, our own risk tolerance. Okay. Okay. Third point, which is have a financial plan. So having a financial plan, I mean, it's very natural that comes to us. That should be the baby step or the first step towards becoming a successful investor. And it's naturally come with starting with a financial plan. And one could include goals and milestones, right? So what are those? These goals and milestones would include setting targets for having specific amounts saved by specific dates. So indeed, I mean, let's cite a few examples. What are the milestone and goals? Milestone can be since young, our parents or ourselves, we fund our own education. And later of the stage, after we go to workforce, we will reach the milestone of entering workforce. So we will earn a living. And then another important milestone is the post, okay? After we graduate, after we have a salaried job, is our next milestone is naturally maybe the marriage, creating a family, become a parents. So I mean, and after becoming a parents, I mean we are more or less more stable in our workforce, then we will consider like mid-age or maybe retirement is coming into the scene, right? So this one, the life, I mean life cycle for all of us, we cannot escape. So we those are the milestones we are going to reach. So isn't it's better if let's say we're setting a target for having the specific amounts saved by specific dates so it can better cater to our lifestyle then, right? And of course, moreover, while most people think in terms of savings for retirement, and maybe even a more desirable goal would be achieve financial independence, right? I mean, everybody, we are looking after the goals of achieving financial independence as early an age as possible, right? So the earlier as possible, if let's say best that we have some support from our investments. And of course, it is possible to create a solid financial plan on our own. But then if let's say we are new to the process, we might consider enlisting some professional like financial advisor like myself to help to make some financial planning. And of course, finally, do not delay. seek to have a plan in place as early as possible in our lifetime and keep it in a living document and updated regularly and in light of changed circumstances and goals. And quite amazingly, like recently, I have met a client. I mean, we have been discussing over a month. Since I mean it's come with investment, that means it's using customers' fund. I mean, he's very meticulous. And what his concern is, he is relative like advanced in age and reaching the 60 to 70 age range and was sharing me with what's his thought is like for investment. So he was sharing with me. So was saying, Guan Qi, the thing is like this. For himself, I mean, he has been invested in stocks markets for the past 30 to 40 years. So always been in equities. So I was sharing with him for equities. I mean, Mr. Lee, do you know it's actually come with your risk, right? If let's say you know equities, I mean drop or grow 30% in your portfolio is very normal. I mean, if let's say you know about stock markets. So I mean, that's the volatility. And he was sharing with me. So right now, my life stage, right, 60 to 70, I might not really want to venture all out in equities again, right? I'm thinking of maybe relevant safe investment will do. Maybe what I'm looking at 4 to 5%, maybe a bit more than our benchmark CPF OA, like the growth. I mean, so you see, I mean, there is a real lifestyle change and life goal change for different age, you see, maybe from 30 all the way to 60 to 70, we all have a different vision or different view on the investment that we should go for, right? This is quite clear cut. And here to be take it the salient point, which is define goals and milestones for a financial plan is basically define goals and milestones and setting targets for having specific amounts, say by specific dates. And also having a plan, not to forget, it's also about building an emergency fund, right? We can't have an all-out financial plan without having a protection to ourselves, right? Isn't it? I mean, basically, when let's say it's when times to emergency, we don't have a fund to cater to that. Then what can we do? We can only spend the money that we do not have, right? Because I mean, the fund we use for investment, it might not be so soon to see the return. We need time to tell the good things, right? So by the time if let's say come to emergency, we better use an untouched fund, an untouched portion of our portfolio to cater to that, not to use our investment, right? And also the very important point, the best possible, seek professional advice to set up a concrete plan. Okay. And also to review, right? Okay, let's continue. So the fourth point, which is the compounding power. Okay, maybe direct your attention to the top left corner of the slides, which you are seeing a growing star, right? Basically, compounding power, if let's say you do know, is like a star, starting from the day you invest. If let's say it's projected at certain rate of return, it will grow bigger at each year. Because why is it so? Compounding basically is like the first year when I start investment, maybe a lump sum, then maybe projected a return. Isn't it on the second year, the return plus the investment, our first investment amount, it becomes a greater amount. Then from this greater amount, it projected another return. So isn't it, it's growing bigger and bigger if we do the math, okay? So the compounding power, what we can share, is basically saving and investing on a regular and systematic basis and maybe starting our discipline as early as possible in life, which can allow us to take full advantage of the power of compounding. And it will literally help and increase our wealth, right? And of course, during different time, for the time that with historically low interest rates, and those will be that diminish our power of compounding to some extent if let's say we just park it at a very low interest rates environment kind of place. And but how if let's say we starting early to build the saving as wealth and more imperative, and of course it will take the interest bearing and dividend paying investments longer to double in value than before, and because the all else is held equal, right? So basically what we are looking at is different economic cycle that come with high interest rate, which is considered to be last year. And also this year is still quite okay if let's say you compare. The rate are still okay, but then it's gradually decreasing over the time. So you see, time to time, we do have different market cycle and economy cycle. So we need to better cater to that as well, taking into the economy cycle. And the compounding power, the two salient points, which one is starting early, which allows to take our full advantage of the power of compounding. And second point, which can only tell by the time. So, since I mentioned about the thing here, which is tell by the time, because why is it so? It's not, the statement it sounds like rather irresponsible, right? Because the thing can only tell by the time. But then why I would like to put this point on the slides? Because we don't really have a crystal ball to tell the future, right? Even, I mean, the president, I mean, even the best investor over the world, they can't really promise you everything, right? And I mean, the only thing which is good is the historical performance. And also, that's only proven by the time, isn't it? So, by not having the crystal ball, I mean, it's only being responsible. So, it's only can be tell by the time. And also, maybe depends a bit on historical performance. Yeah, that's right. So moving on to point five. So of course, here is coming to very important point, which is the diversification. So diversification and assets allocation are two best buddy. So they are very the good concepts that is together, are related together, right? So they are both in managing the investment risk and also in optimizing investment return, right? So diversification simply means spreading your investment portfolio among a variety of investments, right? So basically, put it blunt, that means one portion is doing good, the other portion might be suffer a bit. So balance out is still, I mean, better than zero, right? So let's look at the two salient points, which is concepts that manage the risk and optimizing the investment returns, and also to update it regularly, isn't it? If let's say our investment, I mean, because we are going through different market cycles and economic cycles, if let's say our strategy at first that it makes some I mean deviation from what we planned earlier. So we need a regular review to better asset allocation and also to do the diversification again. Maybe we have another sector is coming up that is overperforming if let's say we are seeing the trend, right? So this is about diversification. And of course, after we really invest, then of course, as the investor, we need to consider all the output, right? So what we need to pay. Of course, one of the things is the cost. We need to fund the investment. And why this is quite important? Because we cannot control the future returns of the investments, right? Because we don't have the crystal ball. But what we can do, we only control the cost. And moreover, the cost, basically like the transaction cost, investment management fees, and maybe the account fee, can be a significant drag on our investment performance as well, because in the end it's all tabulated in our investment performance, right? And taking mutual funds, in US they call it a mutual funds, in Singapore we call it a unit trust. If let's say you have invested before, so high cost is no guarantee of a better performance, right? So this is the thing we can consider as well. So the three salient point, we cannot control future returns, but we can control the cost. So we take control of what we can control, right? And the third point, high cost doesn't mean higher returns, right? In fact, it bites into our investment as well, because certain of the portion is used for the fund management or maybe the transaction fee, right? Okay. Part 7. So here is mentioning about of the investment strategies. So here when come to investment strategies, basically it can be growth investing and income oriented investing. So basically one is like active and passive, right? So income, basically we are relative being passive. So we just invest and collect the income. We will tend to more ignore the market fluctuation because we are contented with what the investment is paying to us. Maybe per month, maybe semi-annual, maybe 1 year one time. Yeah. And active, it simply means if let's say I'm seeing the investment is reaching my target point, maybe raise a 10%, I decide to sell everything. Even if let's say it used to be a passive, but then once I see the price is rising, I want to ignore the fixed income. So I would like to materialize everything. Maybe that will also become active, right? So it also explain the growth and value. So growth basically more aggressive portfolio. So basically it's growth year by year. Maybe we are talking about 10 to 20%, but then we are associated with high risk here. And value simply also means the income oriented. Yeah, so basically it's a fixed income strategy throughout the years, throughout the month. So it's paying me something, so I tend to more passive and not looking at the unit price, right? And of course, the point is also associated with the last slide, which is the high cost does not mean higher returns. So yeah, so whenever we invested in any instruments, we always to understand the fees and charges, and basically those are the costs to our investment. So they will all contribute to our returns later, right? Okay. So the part 8, so which is be disciplined. So being disciplined is one thing we can treat. I'm so sorry. Please excuse. So be disciplined is one thing we can train ourselves. So this is relative on mindset. If let's say you have ever attended my previous webinar, I always also share with customer, with investor and trader. So between investor and trader, simply I can use timeline. For trader, might be going for a short-term profit, maybe a month or 3 months. But then for investor, maybe more like 10 towards a 3, 5 years kind of growth trajectory. So it's not looking for short-term, maybe like months to years, 2 months to a year, okay? More like 3 years, 5 years or 10 years, the mark. So Be disciplined is basically educating ourselves and to invest for a long term and according to a well thought and well constructed financial plan. Of course, and also stay disciplined and try not to get excited or rattled by temporary market fluctuations and also the panic inducing media coverage of the markets and which can give a border on the sensationalistics, right? It's because I mean the market fluctuation it gives us fears and also triumph, right? Like we are happy, we are too over ignorant, like the market is always going up, so we don't care about the risk taking or what, and we only see the market is going up. So I mean, try not to give way to the temporary market fluctuations because somehow it can only be happy or panic, right? And so here the three parts which is quite important for be discipline, which is investment is for long term. So we need to always educate for ourselves and also ignore the market noise. Since I say there are media, there are different people. I mean, because each people will say different things, that makes the market. Because some will say the market will up, some will say it will down, some will say it's not safe, some will say it's safe. So eventually it makes the market, right? Because you say yours, I say mine, then the market is there. Then of course, understand the market, like treat ourselves, go for long term. Not really only stop and to stay in the fear or stay in the short-term happiness, right? So we should look at the bigger picture. So point nine maybe can better help us to train ourselves to stay a long term. Why? Because we think like an owner or the lender. Simply owner can be you hold the stocks or you hold some unit trust which invested in stocks. So basically, you taking ownership of what you invest, like all the company you invested, mm, you will be more prudent, right? So of course you invested in the unit trust if let's say the underlying is mainly on equities. That means all the equities you bought in simply means you see certain things in the industry or in the company enterprise as well, right? So why not think of yourself like the owner of the company? Are you going for short term? I think you can give yourself this question. I think definitely a no, right? Because you have your company and you are feeding so many employees, you see. And of course, you are not looking at 1 year or 3 years because I mean that's too risky to be a business owner to have that kind of concept. Only 1 to 3 years. Because I mean that's short-term profit taker. That's not a business owner, right? So I mean if you train yourself like you taking ownership in the business, you invest, maybe like the unit trust that fully associate with mostly associate with equities, then you will start thinking of a long-term investor rather than a short-term speculator, right? And of course, for business owner, they are looking at the perspective, maybe a 5 years or 10 years visions, right? So why not train yourself like a business owner? So that isn't also train you to have a long-term investment mindset as well. Yeah, if let's say here the lender, basically those are more relevant to the bonds because basically the bonds is like the issuer to the debtor, right? So yeah, so basically is the between two parties. One is the lender, one is the receiver. So you should train it this way to think of yourself whether you are a creditor of that issuer. Are you going to do that? So because for unit trust, we do have funds associated with equities and also funds associated with different lending instruments, all kind of financial instruments, right? So you need to train yourself on behalf of the issuer, lender, or maybe the owner that will better cater to your mindset, right? to tide through. So here are the three salient points. Of course, we need to understand about what's our investment, so underlying investment for our investment, okay? And also putting ourselves as a prospective business owner or maybe the lender. And of course, from there, would you, a question mark, would you like to invest in the thing you think it in this way, okay? Okay, so here is the golden rules, okay? Basically it's highlighted in gold color. I think it's yellow or yellowish or relative gold color. So if let's say you don't understand it, don't invest in it. Why? So given the proliferation of complex and novel investment products, as well as of companies with complex and novel business models, beginning investors today, we definitely face a lot of investment choices, right? Because there are so many investment instruments, right? And we might not be fully understand about the thing. And of course, a simple and a wise rule of thumb is to never make an investment like to the thing we never fully understand, right? And particularly when it comes to the risk associated to the topic, right? And of course, we need to be very careful about avoiding like the investing fakes, like some fake information on investments, and also many of which may not stand the test of time, right? Because I mean, for many of the thing, if let's say we have been through all the investment, also from the newspaper, I mean, there are a lot of hiccups when it comes to investments. So we need to be better prepare ourselves. We only invest in what we understand and maybe a credible investment instruments, right? So so here, the three salient points, which can be given the sophisticated mechanism of investment. If let's say we don't understand it, of course, we don't understand the risk associated to the investment. And of course, we need to filter the choices, right? If let's say we don't understand it, we don't even have the chance to filter the choices. And of course, most important is to understand the product risk. So if let's say you don't understand it, why should we start investing, right? Yeah, so it will only create more troubles when it comes to maybe cases that's going to be unpleasant, right? So these are all more or less like risk management as well, right? We manage the risk because risk is everywhere. We cannot avoid it, but then we manage it, right? Manage to the minimum. So here, in conclusion, understanding all factors can help investors make more informed decisions. And of course, in the end, will improve our investment strategies. And moreover, aware of the concepts can lead to better decision making and a more disciplined investment approach. So basically meaning more prudent in our investment spending, right? So we take the lead and take ownership of our own finance, right? So here basically it reiterates like if let's say you don't understand it, please do not invest it. So here is just one example, like a China wealth manager that uh occur a deficit for their company's run. So I mean they have to be liquidate. So I mean it's quite serious. If let's say uh yeah, when company that went insolvent, and if let's say we are uh, not very well versed about the company and not very knowing the company much. So I mean, things can happen just like this. So here, basically, I'm your dedicated financial planner. I'm Guan Qi. So I can help to guidance on your unit trust purchases and of course the managed accounts like Heaven Pot managed accounts and also give you some informed and updated decisions and also to take care of your investment needs. So maybe I leave the page here for some time. If let's say, if let's say you do think you want to keep in touch with me and maybe to start the learning journey or the investment journey with me, maybe you can scan the QR code and this is my WhatsApp contact. Okay, maybe leave here for 3 minutes. Okay. Okay, I think more or less is about the time. So, if let's say you are willing to join our Affiliate Investor Center community, can kindly scan the QR codes and keep in touch with our Affiliate Investor Center to get yourself updated. Okay. Okay, let's see. I assume that today is all good and maybe just that hopefully we comes to our end of today's webinar. So hopefully everybody has some takeaways for today. So we learned something. And not to forget, in January, later January, I have another webinar, which is on managing managing our risk for our portfolio. So stay tuned, okay? And of course, I hope that today we all learn something. At least we spend some precious time together and we all have walked away with something. Okay? So hopefully that is great. Then, hi, Miss Shirley, are you still there? Okay, if, hi, so hi everyone. And, okay, if nothing else, let's call it a day. Okay, thanks, bye bye. Have a good day.